Many people assume that Alzheimer's disease and other causes of dementia often only really affect older people, when in fact about one person in every 1,000 below the age of 65 does develop dementia.
With us now is Helen Beaumont. Now, Helen lost her husband Clive to early onset dementia. It was diagnosed when he was just 46. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Struck a chord with me that. I'm 46 in 8 days' time.
Oh, well, if you haven't got problems yet, I think you'll probably be fine.
But if I had, what symptoms might I have been showing?
Well, it's the problem with early onset dementia is there are very more that are dementias that aren't Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease, dementia is a family of illnesses, and Alzheimer's is the most common. And I think most people now know that that gives you problems with your memory.
Yeah.
You know, you can't remember where you parked the car, you go out shopping and you forgot what you came for, and it progresses from there. Clive had problems with language and with speech, and that's the next most common cause for younger people. It's due to problems in the frontal lobes. So he started making spelling mistakes. He had problems with numbers. And things developed slowly from there. He had problems in where he was working because he couldn't understand what was happening when he was in the conversations. But he didn't admit that, and so he got sacked.
And so you went to the GP?
Yes.
At some point, then when you thought things are not quite right?
My husband went just after our daughter was born, and the GP said, oh, I can't find anything wrong, keep an eye on things and come back to me if it gets worse. But then we moved house, he moved GPs. And one of the symptoms is that people lose insight into what's happening to them. Mm-hmm. So, in fact, I took him to the doctor when he was made redundant from the army and he couldn't get another job. He couldn't fill in the application forms.
You must have been extremely shocked, both of you, when the diagnosis was revealed at the age of 46.
By the time the diagnosis came, it was a relief to me, because things were so seriously wrong by then. Clive had been out of work for a year, and you couldn't have a serious conversation with him about the future, about money. It was just, oh, something will turn up, it doesn't matter. But in fact, Clive was never told. Well, I told Clive the diagnosis. The neurologist who diagnosed him told me over the telephone. And it was like, there's no point in talking to Clive. He's got dementia, he won't understand it, which was, at that stage, absolute rubbish. Clive knew what was happening to him.
And where do you go from there as a couple, when it's been diagnosed? I mean, we're not looking at cures, are we? There's treatment.
There is, unfortunately, no cure. There is now a drug which can slow things down, but the NHS doesn't provide it. If you want it, you have to pay for it in the early stages of the illness, and it doesn't suit a lot of people.
You've been spurred into action, haven't you, Helen? Now,
well,
you're doing a PhD at Manchester University.
I am, yes. When Clive was diagnosed, the idea was very much, we've told you what's wrong with you, the door's over there, off you go and get on with things. And you can do a lot to improve the lives of people with dementia. But you don't take a pill. You have to do things with society and with working at it and with how you organise your life. And it's wrong to write people off. But yes, I'm doing research into helping to diagnose the illness, because in the early stages we could all say, well, maybe that's what's happening to me. It's just that it's a slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. And you have to catch it whilst you are sliding.
Well, the earlier you catch it, the better things are for you in the future, because if you were always going to do something, you've got time to do it.
Is it on the increase? Or are we
Good
just,
question.
or do we now recognise it as it always been there and we just now call it early onset dementia or dementia?
I don't know. It's a really interesting question. I wish
you may have a few more answers in a few years after the PhD's finished.
I'm hoping for it, yes.
Hopefully.
Best of luck with your research, and thanks for telling us your story.
Thank you.
Nice to have met you.
Thank you, Helen.